Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jack. I'm the co-founder of Aspecta. So Aspecta is a AI-powered identity protocol for innovators to generate, utilize, store their credential data with Aspecta ID based on the insights of their Web2 and Web3 footprints. We build this interactive identity ecosystem, emphasizing interoperability and user experiences, go from developers and beyond. So on that note, I think we are the first developer-focused digital identity and identity ecosystem in the field. So let me go ahead and show you the product of Aspecta ID. So you may have a better understanding what's the identity ecosystem we are trying to build. So the first question is that how to claim an Aspecta ID. That's very straightforward. All you need to do is to link your account across Web2 and Web3. So for my Aspecta ID, I link my GitHub, Twitter, and wallet address. So with one click, you are able to have this AI-generated personal web page as your Aspecta ID to demonstrate, document, and explore. So during the first part, it's like this high-level credential achievements based on my GitHub contributions and all the data I linked. On the left-hand side, it's like this improvements of these credentials, like which coding project, tech posts, or patents or papers that prove that I have these credentials. All of this is done by our large language model and graph learning techniques. And then it's more like my quantitative credentials. What kind of skills do I have? What's the proficiency? Our language model not only include natural language processing, but also include code NLP, which supported more than 8,000 skills based on your GitHub contribution, your coding. And then graph learning will help you demonstrate your skills, your proficiencies, and also, of course, all of the skills or proficiencies, I have this proof, like which coding project, tech posts, or patents or papers prove you have these skills. And then it's more like a quantitative way for me to demonstrate my credentials, how many years we're building, what kind of field I'm focusing, and every credential statement here is backed by this proof of work. And then it's like the on-chain part to demonstrate what kind of smart contract I've been interactive with as a developer. And then we know there's some data does not indicate your proficiency, but indicate my interest as a developer. So this is a part where you could demonstrate your interest as a developer as footprints. And of course, you could always connect with other Aspecta ID holders. And then everything on Aspecta ID is self-sovereignty, which means all the Aspecta ID holders could choose what kind of AI-generated content they want to disclose. And then I think this is the first function of Aspecta ID to demonstrate. And the second function of Aspecta ID is like document and explore. So Aspecta will integrate into different hackathons, courses, and all these developer-oriented events. So you could use Aspecta ID to document your journey and your winning in these different events. For example, we have been integrate into most of the Ethereum hackathons and also these hackathons in different developer communities. More importantly, so for Aspecta, we are now provide this developer ecosystem and services for different layer 1, layer 2, and also middlewares. For example, we are working with Chainlink right now. We are working with Manta Network, Sharding, so to create this builder state for this ecosystem, so they could better vitalize and grow their developer community in a data intelligent way. For example, they will have this builder state, like this directory for all the builders, verified builders in their ecosystem. They could understand their skills, understand their engagement rates within the ecosystem. For example, what kind of hackathons they have been involved with, what kind of courses they finished, what's the frequency of their contribution. So with this kind of data intelligent way, they could better incentivize these developers or builders. So yeah, this is what we are building right now. So if you are interested in building something to empower developers, or you are interested in creating your own builder states with Aspecta's developer ecosystem and services, we are always looking forward to working with you. So now Aspecta, we have 130K Aspecta ID holders, and we are working with more than 25 ecosystem partners. That means Aspecta has already integrated using developer ecosystem and services into more than 25 this like different developer focused no matter it's for layer 1, layer 2, or this middlewares. Yeah, that's the introduction about Aspecta.
Sure, perfect timing control. Okay, so from the QA session, I think we have 3 questions. The first one is, the invitation is required to reveal the Aspecta ID. Do you have one we can use?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can always like contact us, use our Twitter or Discord. So we now have this invitation code. Usually there are 3 ways you can have this invitation code. For example, you could participate into any these hackathons or developer focused events or ecosystems integrated with Aspecta ID. I think the one we are running right now is with Stanford Blockchain. It's called the Boundless Hackathons. And also, if you are a builder in Meta Network or Sharding or Gitcoin or Chainlink, you are able to have this invitation code because these are the top, these are the like ecosystem we are working right now. But and the third way is that you could always like message us through Twitter or Discord. We will like send out some like invitation code occasionally based on the based on the availability. Yeah.
Okay, second question, how to ensure the account safety?
I'm not sure. How do you mean that the account safety? First, I think I think if you mean whether Aspecta ID is decentralized identity, if that's your question. So I'm not sure Scott is still here. I think one thing we are working right now is working with space and time to say, okay, fully give back the data, give the data back to the users, which means all the Aspecta ID holders, they will have their own server to store their data. So get full control of the data. So right now, the current version of Aspecta ID is that all the Aspecta ID holders have the sovereignty, but not the data is not decentralized stored. So this is what we are going to do. And I think the second concern about the account safety is that some of the Aspecta holders, they do not want to disclose their wallet address, but they want to use Aspecta ID to have their credentials on it. So there are several solutions with that, like using, I think the thing we are working with Meta Network is use their ZK knowledge to say, okay, I have these credentials, but I do not need to disclose what's exactly the wallet address I have. So I'm not sure if that I answer your question.
Okay, one of our favorite audience, Eugene, asked a relatively more challenging question. There are a lot of like DID projects like SBT, but when they work on launched, how do you guys survive?
I think WorkCoin have different angle than us. So I think our first our focus is like for developer focused, and for Aspecta we use AI to create actually this use case. And for WorkCoin, they focus more, from my understanding, their biometric information for the users. For Aspecta, it's more like your digital presence, the insight of your like GitHub, Twitter, Stack Overflow, on-chain transactions. I think there's still different angles. I mean, in the future, I even believe there's still some like collaboration opportunities between WorkCoin and Aspecta because it's different kind of like this identity presence. One is biometric, and the other is like digital, more digitalized identity.
Okay, I think that's the last question we received. Does Aspecta ID utilize ZKPs?
Oh yeah, of course. As I mentioned that there's one very clear use case is that I am the Aspecta ID holders. Now I have this Aspecta. One thing I want to mention is that everything on Aspecta ID right now, the user have the option to put it on chain if they want. And during the process, like I mentioned, if I say, okay, I'm an Aspecta ID holders, I have this credential as like I'm a Solidity expert. I want to put it on chain, but I don't want to disclose my actual wallet address. Okay, this is where we could use some ZK knowledge to say, to prove I have this credential, but I do not disclose my wallet address. This is one, I think, aspect. The more exciting aspect regarding ZK knowledge is not only ZKP, it's more like ZKML. So we are working with some ZKML innovators to open source Aspecta's AI algorithm. So in this way, we can build a trustless mechanism with all Aspect ID holders. Yeah, I mean, I think there is like great synergy between Aspecta and all the ZK field right now.